guys. We are doing something a little extra today. So we're just going to kind of do a breakdown of the sermon here with Pastor Mason, who killed it today, as always.
I just try.
You do. And we are so blessed by it. But this is an impactful story that I think it's taught a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I love how you broke it down today to tell us why this is important to have a community, because we do say it here at Victory Hill that we're a family, right? And I literally wrote down and highlighted that we treat you like family because we love you.
Right.
And sometimes that's fun and hugs, and sometimes that's the hard things, right?
So, like we love like family, we fight like family, but we never leave each other.
Right.
We always have to find that way to be there for each other in specific or different ways. And I think too, not only in tragedy, but in good times, being there for each other. It's not just community's not just there when you need it; it's always there. So that's what as we're talking in the context of what's the value of church or what's in it for me. That's what's in it for you, that you always have this community that you can rely on, and that you're something I didn't really have time to really get into with the message. When we talk about being a body and being a working member, we're talking about like an arm, a leg, a liver, a kidney.
Right.
We all have different, that's kind of how the Bible, it's not really just a house, it's kind of how the Bible talks about it, that we're all working members. That, if the arm's not working, I can't lift what I could lift. If the colon's not working, you get backed up and tore up. So we all have, doesn't matter how dirty the job is.
We don't just give you the truth, whether it's pretty or not.
It's all we all have a purpose to play in, even in our online community. Encouraging people, no matter when or where, sharing videos, stuff like that. That's how we can always.
Yeah, and we hope that some of you all have even reached out and became friends outside of just the Victory Hill Facebook and the online. But one of the things that I wrote down, this is just kind of to challenge you a little bit this morning, because I like to do that, was there's times when we have people in our lives who aren't really willing to see God in their life or to see that need. So I wrote down, was the man willing, or did his friends choose to intercede for him? Because we don't really know his perspective. But so that's a challenge for you.
So I don't think they drug him kicking and screaming, by no means. But this guy, from what I've read and in commentaries and study, that when Jesus said he saw their faith, he saw the man's, and he saw that his friends.
It was a combination.
So it was a combination of all of them. But I think at the same time, it takes faith from all of us to and that could be even a moment where we talked about that our faith strengthens each other, that he had faith, but it might have not have been as strong to get like theirs words, to dig out the roof and get him down there. So he pulled from their faith. And I think what Jesus saw, and I'm not Jesus or speaking for him, but I think what he saw in that moment was that they recognized who he was and what he could do.
Yes, and I think that that's a huge thing, because we all have people in our lives that, we feel like that we are just praying and we're in the dust with them, and they may not fully see it then, but we know what's in them, and we know their true heart, and we know their potential, and it's just like we really dig deep, and I think that may not be physically picking them up and taking them anywhere, but that prayer,
I think,
and that faith, and that you standing firm in that for them, I think, is what also intercedes.
So something that we talk about, if you're in small groups, we'll talk about it this week. How do I have relationships in a way that what I do leads people to Jesus? That it might not be picking them up and taking them to him, but is my life pointing them to him?
Am I being an example?
Right. And in times, in good times and bad times, however, am I pointing people, doing what I can, and or are there barriers keeping me from getting people to Jesus?
And I think that's
how do I break those down?
And that's another reason we should have community, right? Because we need people who surround us, that remind us in those moments when we need to look to God. And one of the things I also wrote down was that when you said do not isolate, you're talking about that. I think that what's scary is vulnerability. It's scary to tell somebody the worst parts of you. But when you have a community that loves you and really points you towards God, then you have that opportunity to grow. With vulnerability comes growth.
You were saying that, this gets taught a lot. I've preached this years ago.
Right.
This same passage of scripture. Something I talked about in that message was that doubt grows in isolation, but faith flourishes in community.
Yes.
So when if I'm weak in my faith, if I isolate myself, my doubt is going to grow. We all have doubts. We all have hang-ups and stuff, but it takes getting around people who love God and follow Jesus to strengthen that faith. Like I leave church encouraged. Now there's times that I've left church and not felt encouraged.
And that's everyone.
But there are times when I'm low in my faith that I can come to church, and it's not the worship, it's not just the preaching, it's the fact that I'm around the people who love God and their faith encourages my faith.
I agree. I think that is incredible. I think that it's just a reminder of why we need people. Right? Why we need people that are God-centered, why that's important. And you don't have to have that just on Sundays. Like we said, there's ways that you can join a small group or things that you can do online. Reach out and get to know each other. Yeah. We love our online family, and I know that we have people that are spread out everywhere, but you will see each other's comments every Sunday. So, reach out.
Yeah.
Build your own community, and that is absolutely acceptable. We want you to do that because just because you may not be in the same state does not mean that you cannot intercede with prayer or anything like that.
Yeah, I would encourage. I want you to be a part. If you're out of state or something, I do encourage you get in a church, a local body of believers. No church is perfect. Our church might have been perfect, but as soon as I walked in this morning, it undid everything.
We're all going to pray about that later.
Exactly. I want you to get involved in a church locally. Keep watching our stuff. We love for you to be a part.
Oh, absolutely. You're not leaving our online family.
No. But there's not it's something tangible about being in the room with people who love God that strengthens your faith.
And if you ever want to take a vacation,
come see us. That's right.
I mean, we are more than willing.
Right.
So, but I think today was incredible. I'm looking forward to small groups so we can dive a little bit deeper with our small group communities.
Right.
And we're blessed to have you and your family and things to be okay. And that's what we're here for, right?
Yes, it is good. So thank you all for joining in.